Hello everyone, can anyone hear me? Stream Deck is being a bit funny with my mic settings. There we are, I think that's better. Alright. Hello! This is Pete, as well you know, and welcome back to the scheduled stream for the week, which, for those of you just joining for the first time, is going to be on 5:30 PM UK time on Wednesdays, because that is when my wife plays Final Fantasy XIV and does raids, so I'm left twiddling my thumbs for a few hours, so I thought I might as well do some streams while we're doing that. So, welcome if you're first time here. I can see we've got Flame Chocobo there in the chat, which is great. Very happy to see you and thank you for the support. Today we're going to be taking a look at a retro games console called the ColecoVision, which was a 1982 console from Coleco. And it's a really interesting system because it's kind of a failed system. It stuck around for about 3 years altogether. It was discontinued in 1985. But between its launch in 1982 and it being discontinued in 1985, it put out a bunch of really cool stuff. It was widely regarded as a platform that had some of the best arcade ports excuse me, some of the best arcade ports of the period, and some good original games, and it was just a solid platform, but for various reasons, including the Famicom and NES, it didn't stick around, unfortunately. Now, one interesting thing about it is that internally it's got a lot in common with the MSX computer standard, which is very popular in Japan. So there's a bunch of stuff on ColecoVision that originated with Japanese developers and publishers, which you didn't necessarily see on other platforms. So one of the titles we're going to have a look at today, Antarctic Adventure, is actually a Konami game. You saw some Konami games on other platforms, but not necessarily by Konami. Whereas the MSX was pretty big in Japan, and so porting stuff from MSX to ColecoVision was fairly straightforward. And indeed, there's some modifications you can make to the ColecoVision and its software to get MSX stuff actually running on ColecoVision. One of the best emulators for running ColecoVision stuff is actually an MSX emulator, first and foremost. It just happens to run ColecoVision stuff as well. So we're going to play a bunch of stuff today. I've picked out a sort of selection of games from across the complete library. The full library isn't very big, but I've sort of picked out some stuff that I think is interesting. Not necessarily going to go in alphabetical order, because I think we're probably going to start with Venture, which is one of my favourite ColecoVision games. It's a system that I didn't know very well until quite recently, and this isn't a game I'd come across until quite recently as well. I largely know the ColecoVision because of the videos I watched from Classic Game Room, because he's done quite a few videos on the ColecoVision and its games. And Venture was one that he really liked. So we'll kick off with that one. So this is a 1982 game, originally released by Exidy. It's technically a shooter, but it's pretty interesting. So you'll see. So we're running via emulation today because real ColecoVisions are, one, hard to come by and a bit pricey today. There is a ColecoVision flashback console you can get, but even that's a bit hard to find today, and some people say it's not very good as well. So the ColecoVision, if you're not familiar with it, it had a controller with a telephone-style keypad at the bottom, a joystick at the top, and 2 fire buttons. So in a lot of cases, ColecoVision games would start with a screen like this, where you press one of the buttons on the keypad to choose what skill level you want to play at. We'll play at skill level 2 for now, as I found from just a bit of sort of casual exploration of the library that skill level 1 is generally pretty easy. Now, one slightly awkward thing with emulation of the ColecoVision is that a lot of emulators tend to expect that you're using a conventional modern controller of some description, like RetroArch is very is a bit of a problem for this. And so what you end up having to do is assigning all the individual buttons on the numeric keypad to... Whoops. Assigning all the individual buttons on the numeric keypad to buttons on the conventional controller, which isn't ideal. I'd much prefer to assign them to just the keys on the keyboard. But, well, you learn to live with it. Once you learn what those controls are... No! Oh. Curses. Anyway, this game. What you do is you start on this overview map here. You are the little pink dot. His name is Winky. And your job is to find all the treasures. And you do that by going into the rooms, at which point the view zooms in like this. You go and nab the treasure. And then you get back out again. And that fills in the room, so you can't go in the room again after you've filled it in like this. You have to avoid all these green meanies out in the corridors because they will kill you straight away and you can't shoot them. Go into each room one at a time. Blast the enemies if you want to. You don't have to, but you do get points for it. But one thing you do have to bear in mind is that their corpses stick around for a moment, and it takes them a while to decompose. Spooky, scary skeletons indeed. Their corpses stick around for a moment or two, and actually touching their corpses is as fatal as running into the monsters themselves, so you have to not do that. So you have to wait for them to sort of decompose before you can slip past them again. But hindering you in your efforts are those green monsters from out in the hallways. If you take too long in a room, one of them will burst in and try and get you. If you ever play Berserk and you're familiar with Evil Otto, then, yeah, similar sort of thing. So we finished the level, we get some bonus points. I'm not entirely sure what for, but we got some bonus points. I think it's to do with how quickly you finish the level, because if you look at the top middle of the screen, we've got bonus 9. So I think the faster you complete the level, the more bonus you get. And you see there's some fun booby traps in certain rooms, such as in that one where you grab the treasure and more spiders appear. More spiders. Right. This one. Oh, there's no monsters. Until you grab the treasure, at which point a bunch of two-headed etins appear. And again, gotta watch out for their corpses as much as them when they're wandering around. Because otherwise they'll get you, they will. Alright, this one, seemingly impossible to begin with, but then, after you've been in there for a few seconds, those walls open up, let the trolls out, but also give you access to the treasure as well, so... The thing you've got to be careful of in this is Winky is not super responsive to control. He's fine on the overview map like this, but you might be able to see when I'm moving around in the rooms, if you change direction, it takes a moment for him to actually switch direction. So he sort of changes direction and then starts moving. He doesn't do that immediately. So you have to bear that in mind when you're moving him around. Otherwise you'll get into a tricky situation. More bonus points and an extra life. Very nice indeed. So we're now on to level 3. Which is a different layout again. I believe there's only 3 different layouts in total. So if we finish this level, you'll see we'll go back to the first layout, but it'll be faster and more difficult. As is the convention for games of this period. Alright, come on, disappear. Thank you. And then head on out before the nasties come and get us. Sneak around them. Bathroom! Ah! You can get around there. There we go. Lovely stuff. I'm quite fond of this game. Oh no! I'm quite fond of this game. It reminds me of a game on Atari 8-bit called Action Quest, which someone introduced to me probably a couple of years back now. It's a very similar sort of idea, going to specific rooms on an overview map. And as you explore, you'll encounter various sort of puzzles and challenges and monsters and all that sort of thing. Action Quest was slightly different in that you were playing a ghost, for one thing. And it had a more sort of continuous map layout than the kind of overview that we've got here. There we go. First 3 levels done. Not sure I've ever got this far, actually, you know. Not bad at all. Alright. So you see, we're back to the first level layout now. With the ramen noodles gold again. As you quite rightly pointed out, Flame. But we should find that the monsters are moving more quickly and being more aggressive now, so we'll have to be a little bit more careful. He says, running right into one of the Hall Wanderers. Alright, come on, we got this. Spooky, scary skeletons again. I love the music in this. It's all like little twists on classical themes and so on. So they're all well-known pieces of music, but they're just implemented really nicely. And they fit really well with the action on the screen. Oh, no! That's not a good door to go into that room by. There's a very common thing with 80s games to make use of sort of classical music and that sort of thing as the accompaniment to the action. Largely because in many cases the music and stuff would have been put in there by the programmer themselves, so if that programmer didn't have any particular musical talent, other than knowing how to get an existing piece of music playing on a home computer or console, well, if they could use a piece of music that wasn't sort of protected by copyright or anything, not that... Oh no, that's not very nice. Not that a lot of people cared about copyright anyway, because there's also a lot of games from this period that feature music that is just pop music from the period. Not licensed or anything like that. But they didn't care. And to be honest, with the limited sound capabilities, a lot of these early consoles and computers as well, I doubt the original artists. Yes, Fantasy for the Arcade has got some... It's got some very... I forget what's used in that offhand. But yeah, that's definitely got some. There's... Like, I've heard things like Popcorn is used in several games. For one thing. Yeah, you'll hear all sorts of things. If you play old arcade games, you'll hear all sorts of things. Funky Town, that's the one. That's right, that plays in the side-scrolling bits, doesn't it? Yes. So what else is there? There's Venture from SNK. That has the Flash Gordon theme in it. Not the one by Queen, but the movie theme. Oh no, it's all over. It's all over. Anyway, that's Venture. I really like that game. That's a lot of fun. So we might come back to that a little bit later. But we've got some other stuff to explore. So let's take a look at some other stuff that we've got. Another one that I want to have a look at, because I'm just quite fond of this game, is Miner 2049er, which came out in 1982. This was originally released for Atari 8-bit. So it's a game that I grew up with. I didn't know there was a ColecoVision version until quite recently. It was ported by Mike Livesey from the sound of things. And this ColecoVision version port came out in 1983. So, one player. And off we go. Now, this is a single-screen platform game in which you play Bounty Bob, who is a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in the year 2049. I'm not making any of this up. And he has to descend into these radioactive mines in search of the evil and deadly and awful Yukon Johan. For some reason. I forget exactly why, but in fact, I've probably got the manual for this. I can probably tell you why in just a moment. But let's play it a little bit first. So the aim in this game is pretty simple. You just have to walk on every bit of the level at least once. So it's kind of a combination of Donkey Kong, a little bit of Cuba in there in terms of the sort of capturing of territory, bit of Jumpman. So it's a good... Oh, yeah, there's definitely some Donkey Kong vibes in this. Donkey Kong was super influential. A lot of people really wanted to kind of ride its coattails at the time. So the single-screen platformer was really sort of exploded in this period. There were a lot of games that were fairly shameless clones of Donkey Kong, but then there were also a lot that really built on the formula as well, like this one. So this has the sort of single screen format of Donkey Kong, but you're doing something a bit different. You're not just making your way up to the top of the screen. You are collecting items. You are using those items to defeat enemies. You're falling too far. So the way this works, if it's not clear from what I'm doing, is if you pick up an item, all of the monsters become vulnerable. So that's when they turn blue, a bit like a Pac-Man ghost when you get a power pill. So you don't have to defeat the enemies, but you get a bunch of points if you do. So you might as well. So, oh no, that was unfortunate. Let's give that another go. In fact, before we do that, let's have a look at the manual, because I do have a manual for this. So here we are, 1 or 2 players. The objective of Miner 2049er is for Bounty Bob to survive all 11 game levels in succession without being destroyed. The game is over when the 3rd Bounty Bob is destroyed. Miner hats in the upper left corner of the screen represent how many Bounty Bobs you have left. To reach each successive level, Bounty Bob must mask the entire framework on the present level before the time display reaches 0. After all the framework has been masked, the time left on the clock is converted to points and added to your score. It doesn't really tell you the story. That's a shame. I think that's probably because this was a port. The original Atari version of this would have had probably a more in-depth story for us to enjoy. But anyway, let's have another go. 1 player. In terms of presentation, I think the Atari version of this oh no. In terms of presentation, I think the Atari version of this looks a little bit nicer. It's a little bit more colourful. But this runs impressively speedily. This runs about twice the speed of the Atari game. Whether or not you think that's a good thing is a matter of opinion. But even so, it gives this version a distinctive feel and makes it worth playing independently of the original Atari release. This game is ported to all sorts of things. So besides ColecoVision, I think there was a 2600 version. There was probably an Intellivision version. There were versions for most of the home computers of the period as well. So there was a Commodore 64 version. I suspect there was a Spectrum version. Yeah, it was a very popular game. Which is kind of interesting because it was also a very expensive game. It was one of the first cartridges on the Atari 8-bit to have 16K of ROM. So it was a pretty big game for the time. A lot of games at the time were either 4K or 8K. And because this came in a 16K ROM cartridge, it cost about $50 in 1982. Did I say? 1982, I think. And that's the equivalent of it costing somewhere in the region of about $115 today. So it was a very pricey game. Even more so if you didn't live in the United States, because I don't think this got an official release outside of the United States until much later. So if you wanted to buy that original cartridge version of this, you'd have to pay up the expensive price that it cost in the first place, and then you'd also have to pay up for you'd also have to pay up for it being a import game as well. The gaming could get pretty pricey back then. But then of course piracy was rife as well, so you know, we had Miner 2049er on our Atari and we certainly didn't pay for it, so oh, that's not very nice, is it? Well, we're probably going to have to use that lift, aren't we? Oh no, we got it. There we go. Oh no! Too hard. Too hard. Not too hard. Just quite hard. But anyway, let's have another go. I like this game. 1 player. One thing I will note, if you want to emulate ColecoVision for yourself using RetroArch, there are 2 cores that will do ColecoVision emulation. One is called Gear Coleco, which is specifically for ColecoVision, and the other one is called Blue MSX. I'm running this on the Blue MSX one, which is slightly older but a bit more well established. The main reason for that is Gear Coleco seems to have a problem with the controls where if you press one of the virtual keypad buttons, it will stick. And that makes actually using them quite difficult. Because the way that controller is set up, it doesn't allow you to press more than one button at once. So if a key gets stuck down, in some cases you just can't press another one. So I would recommend using Blue MSX for your Coleco emulation. Takes a little bit of setting up. You need some BIOS ROMs, but those are freely available with the standalone download of Blue MSX, so it's pretty easy to get started. Not quite as easy as like an Atari 2600 emulator or something, but certainly fairly straightforward. Alright, and over here, and there we go. Right, doing a bit better this time. Still got 2 lives in stock. Right, let's try not to make a mess of this level this time. Carefully. Alright, take you out. Can we fall that far? Yes, good. Right. Okay, I think we can use the keypad buttons to move to different floors. There we go. So that takes us to that one. 3 takes us up there. That's how we do that. Oh no! Oh! Falling to my death, as always. Right, I got this time. I got this. I got this? I might have this. No. Get out of my way. Leave me be, you horrible mutant! Right, sod this. I'm going straight to the top. Let's go straight to the top and work our way down. That might actually be easier. Oh, look, you seriously telling me that's too far to fall? That's ridiculous. Alright, one more go. One more go. Because I want to clear that 3rd level. Alright, 1st level, super easy. Yes, we all know how to do this. One thing I always did like in this game, back in the day, was the fact that there were sloped platforms in it. That's one of the reasons why this looks and feels a bit like Donkey Kong. Because Donkey Kong was also one of the first platform games to have sloped platforms in it. And over on the Atari A to Z series on YouTube, I've talked previously a bit about... for a while as a kid, I had an absolute obsession with platform games that had hills in for some reason. I don't really know why, but I did. That's a thing that happened. And yeah, they were there right from the beginning, with stuff like this. Alright, down we go. Lovely stuff. And be careful not to fall down the slides when you don't actually want to go down the slides, of course. Oh, getting a bit short on time. Quickly. Quickly, quickly. There we go. Right. The going up to the top strategy wasn't a terrible one, I don't think. But also I fell too far, didn't I? So maybe that isn't a good idea. Actually, no, let's do that. But let's not fall down to that platform this time. Because I don't think that's the correct approach. But taking that lot out isn't necessarily a bad thing. And then killing these guys. Getting this bad boy out of the way. Now, how do you call the lift? Oops. That's the reset button. I'm just going to check the controls for a second. Bear with me. Quick menu. Controls. Port 1 controls. I needed button 5, I think it was. That's normally the trigger button, which I don't have mapped to anything. That could be a problem. So let's map that to something. This is not very interesting, I know, but it's a reality of emulation, so you know we'll just deal with it. So L2 button trigger. Let's pop that on tab. R2. I'll pop that on caps lock, and that should do it. That should do it for now. And resume. The reason I wanted to map that is I'm pretty sure that you have to press 5 to call the lift to where you are. I could have checked the manual, I know, but you know, it's more fun to fly by the seat of your pants. Beautifully done. I'm sure you'll agree. Right, and this one's pretty straightforward as well. You just gotta... There's probably an optimal route for this level that I haven't quite figured out yet. Ooh, didn't go down the slide. That's fine by me. That will save a little bit of time. And saving time means bigger bonuses, and everybody likes big bonuses. And hop. Still running out of time now. It'll do. It'll do. Right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I was gonna sneeze, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Right. Okay, down to the 3rd floor. Jumpy, jumpy. Destructo, destructo. Down to the 2nd floor. No, that's the top floor. Oh, I'm running out of time. Oh no. Hurry up, Bounty Bob, hurry up. I'm gonna die, gonna die, gonna die, gonna die, gonna die. Yep. Ugh. How annoying. Right. New strategy required, clearly. Oh, piss. Right. Get out of my way. This is wasting a lot of time I don't have. No! Okay. Alright, I'll admit defeat on that one for now. For now. That's minus 2049 now. I'm a big fan of this. Right, what else? Mr. Do. Mr. Do was specifically recommended to me from a former ColecoVision owner. Let's have a quick look at the manual. Mr. Do by Universal for 1 or 2 players. Your challenge is to eliminate all enemies or to harvest all cherries before the enemies eliminate you. Plays like the Mr. Do arcade game. Guide Mr. Do, TM, as he tries to harvest his orchard before the evil bad guys can catch him. Quick, mow a path to the cherries and start picking. But watch out, here comes a bad guy. Throw your power ball to squelch him. But more are on the way, so run until your power ball comes back. You're not completely defenseless, though. You can push apples on top of the bad guys to quash their pursuit. Now dash to the center of the screen and capture the treat. Even though the bad guys freeze for a few moments, 3 blue chompers and an alpha monster enter the scene. But don't let them near Mr. Do. Eliminate all 5 alpha monsters to spell extra and win an extra Mr. Do. Okay, so 4 skill levels. 1 is the easiest, 2 is a little faster but slightly easier than the arcade game. Skill 3 is roughly in line with the arcade version. And skill 4 is harder than the arcade version. It's a pretty simple game, so we won't go through the entire manual there. But that's just a look of the sort of manual you get with a ColecoVision game. ColecoVision presents Universal's Mr. Do TM. They're from 1983, this one. It's a very good Atari 8-bit version of this again, so I grew up with that version, so I'm not super familiar with the ColecoVision version. But former ColecoVision owners seem to like it a lot, so skill level 2, let's go for. Get ready, player 1. So as Mr. Do, you nab all the cherries. And if you nab all the cherries in a combo, which is represented by that sort of rising scale that you hear as I'm collecting them, then you get an extra 500 points. Okay, here's the alpha monster. So I've got a T on extra now, so if I can repeat that process and spell out extra, I'll get an extra life. Which is very nice, and that's the first level done. So this is one of those games that looks like it's a rip-off or something, but actually isn't. So a lot of people compare this to Dig Dug. It's actually quite different to Dig Dug. I mean, yes, you can finish the level by defeating all the enemies. But that's probably not the way that most people are going to do it. Most people are probably going to get the cherries. Alright, give me that X. There we go. Lovely stuff. And you see, at the start of this game, the enemies can't dig, but as you progress a little bit further, they will start being able to. So you have to be a little bit careful. I always be fond of this game just because it's a very sort of pleasing game to look at and listen to. Catchy little tune playing in the background. Nice colourful visuals. Although the ColecoVision version here does suffer a little bit in comparison to the Atari version that I grew up with single colour sprites. Now see there, I picked up the treat in the middle when the indicator at the top was on a letter I'd already got. So the letter doesn't come out if you do that. And instead it just freezes the enemies for a little while. And sometimes they just come out of their own free will as well. So when that happens, absolutely don't panic. Because it's very easy to get into a mad panic trying to chase them down. Okay, going pretty nicely. Level 6. You'll notice that these starting tunnels for each stage spell out the number of the stage, which I also thought was a nice little touch. Give me the 8. Oh no! Oh no! Indecisive. Indecision kills in Mr. Do. It certainly does. Alright, let me through there. Oh no! Poor clown handling. See, that was one of the diggy monsters there that just appeared. Oh, give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that. Yeah, come on, come on. I want my extra life, especially now I've lost one. Come here. Gotcha. Congratulations, you win an extra Mixtadoo. Oh, it doesn't have the cutscene. That's a shame. In the arcade game and the Atari version, there was a little cutscene you got when you got an extra life. And a bit like in Pac-Man, that shows up between certain levels as well. Leave me be, diggy monsters. I don't like you very much. Give me the tea. Ooh. That was a bit, a little bit tight. Oh, you're faster than me. That's not nice. Dang it. Alright, let's just concentrate on doing this safely. Safely and sensibly. Give me that A. Come on. Oh no! Caught by the blue snappers. The worst kind of snapper to be caught by. Oh, they're faster than you. That's frustrating. That was a good run, though. 63,100 points, level 8. Nice. Alright. Let's play again. If I can... There we go. Let's try skill level 3. So this should be more in line with the difficulty of the arcade version. Oops! That was silly. That was my own fault. That wasn't difficulty, that was just incompetence. So this sort of game is a good example of what the ColecoVision was good at. Arcade conversions of 80s arcade games, basically. So it's not arcade perfect by any means, but it's good. It's solid. It looks good, it sounds good, it plays well. And if you wanted to play Mr. Do at home, well, you could. Like I say, this did get ported to a bunch of other platforms as well. But this is a version a fair few people seem to hold in some regard, so I thought we would play it a bit today. Fun fact as well, Mr. Do was the first arcade game to be released... Oh dear. Sorry, I got distracted by my cat knocking something over. Mr. Do was the first arcade game to be released as a conversion kit for something else. So that became fairly common practice later on. But Mr. Do was the first one, where you could just buy a board, bung it in a different arcade machine, and have a different game, which is really nice. Obviously not directly relevant to the ColecoVision port here, but an interesting little historical factoid about the game nonetheless. Give me some X. Oh no, 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 run away. There we go. Ooh. That was a little close for comfort. I like how they didn't quite sync the rising scale of the cherries with what's actually happening. So you hear if you cut off your combo before you grab the 8th cherry, it still plays the 8th note. So I guess what they'd done is they'd pre-composed a short clip of music and just played it back as you pick up the cherries. Oh, I already got the X. That's a terrible shame. Alright, on to level 6. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Should have turned around and killed him. Oh, I'm dead already. That's upsetting. Deeply upsetting. That's not bad, though, considering we were playing on arcade difficulty. Let's have a look at skill level 4, then. So this is supposed to be harder than the arcade version. Again, not sure how that's implemented. Oh dear. Death on the first level. Again, largely through incompetence, I think, though, more than anything. Let's just get out of here. Just get out of here. Get the crystal, get out. Maybe there's more of those enemies? I'm not sure. There are quite a few of them. And I think they come out a bit quicker, for one thing. Oh no, I walked right into that one. Stupid. Stupid! Have some apple on your bunts. I don't care, X. You're in a far too dangerous situation to even consider taking you out. Right. Level 3. At the hardest difficulty. Ooh. That was a little close for comfort. Oh, missed. There we go. Thank you very much. I'm joined by a cat who has decided to recline on the rug next to me. She's probably dropping a hint that it's dinner time. But she's going to have to wait. Because I am busy entertaining you. Yes, you. Up, up. Oh, no! Okay. So that's Mr. Do for ColecoVision. A good version. I like that a lot. Right, what else have we got? Let's play something a little bit different. Let's have a look at Alcazar, the Forgotten Fortress. Peep at the manual first. So this is a game from Activision, which was distributed by Telegames USA. The country is covered with castles and curios with bridges and carpets that fly. And there's no way around it. Your destination is on the other side. What perils lurk in these mysterious castles? Which path is quick and sure? With map in hand, you'll dare across. I'm not sure that's how you use that word. Collecting the tools you'll need. Tools to master that grandest of castles. The lure, the dream, the goal. The legendary keep, Alcazar. Okay, so this makes itself look a lot more complicated than it actually is. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, select difficulty 1, press asterisk to start. Right, so structurally, this is a little bit like, what's it called? Cloudy Mountain on Intellivision. So you have this randomly generated map, and you start over on the left, over here, and you have to make your way to the big castle over on the right-hand side, which is Alcazar. And you do that by proceeding through these various other castles. And there are a few obstacles around the place that you need various items to get through. So, for example, just north of where we are, there's a forest that I think you need the axe to get through. You'll see that there's broken bridges around the place that you need to fix, and there's a lake in the middle that you need a boat to get over. So, let's have a wander into this castle here and see what's going on. So, you control this green dude here, and you walk around from room to room. See what's going on. You see in the bottom left corner, there's a little mini-map showing which room you are in the castle. So each castle is a 4x4 grid with 2 floors, apart from the last castle, which is a 4x4 grid on 3 floors. Right, I don't know if you can hear that sort of buzzing noise. That indicates that there's an enemy in the next room. So it's a fly. So we shoot him by holding down the fire button and pushing the direction we want to fire our gun. Oh, there's also a... What's that? That's a griffin, I think. I'm going to run away from him for the minute because they take a lot of bullets to kill. And you are better off defeating them with a particular item. Oh, oh, God. That's a guard chasing me. They take, I think, 3 bullets. Nope, he's killed me. He's killed me. Oh, I'm out of bullets, that's why. Alright, run away so you're well ahead of them. That will let you escape. Oh no! This is not going well. Right, if you press the fire button by itself, you'll swap the stuff in your pockets with what's in your hand. So that you can then... There we are. Now we can nab his keys. Oil! That's what we need to do with the griffin. So I pop the oil in my hand by tapping the fire button a couple of times to put it in my hand. We then need to determine where the griffin is, and then we hurl the oil at it, just like shooting a bullet at it. So in each dungeon, we're looking for a useful item, basically. Got another oil, which we can use on him. They line up with him. Let him fly! There's some buckets of water. We'll nab one of those just in case. Nothing going on here. Oh no! Big pit. Good. Sudden pit. Ooh. Cat under my desk. It's that pizza flame, that sounds good. I would join you if we hadn't already had a Mackie D's for lunch. Jalapeno chicken and spinach. That does sound good. That does sound like a fine pizza to accompany an evening of gaming or whatever you have planned. Not sure what we're having for dinner tonight. Spider. Very slow spider. Just takes a single gunshot to defeat a spider. There's a fly in the next room though. Oops. That big rug there. The rugs in this game, they sometimes do nothing, but then they sometimes transport you to other locations as well because they're flying carpets, you see. Oh, another gun. Yes, let's swap that. Interesting thing about this game, it's not very well known, but it is... Should have remembered. It's not very well known, but it is specifically cited as an influence on the original Resident Evil. Because one of the creators of the original Resident Evil, not Shinji Mikami, but one of the other people who worked on it, played this game growing up, and he was very struck by the interesting gameplay possibilities that having limited inventory space and limited resources, so limited items. He was very struck by that, and he thought it'd be a good idea to implement that into another game. So that's why Resident Evil is the way it is, because of this game. Anyway, Flame asks, what's my favourite TMNT game? Speaking of pizza. You know what? I don't really know, because there's a bunch of them I haven't played yet. I do have a soft spot for the original arcade game, although revisiting it recently, I actually think I like the NES version more. Because it's certainly solo, anyway. The arcade version is still an absolute hoot, played with friends. But the NES version, I think, is a better solo game. Turtles in Time, I will always have a massive soft spot for, because that was... Back in the day, that was one of the ultimate Super NES games. If someone you knew had Turtles in Time, then it was like, oh, they are the coolest. Oh no. Get out. No, no! I've fallen down the pit again. Yes, the Turtles in Time at Super NES, probably, is the answer I would pick for that. Hold on. Let me get rid of this water and swap it for the oil, because I can use that on the Griffin. No! Big pit. Do not fall down, big pit. Oh my god, what the hell is that? I'm running away from it, whatever it is. Yeah, Turtles in Time is a great one. And I think, again, the home version of it is probably better than the arcade version. Just because they rebalanced it a little bit and made it a bit more friendly to playing at home. But I mean, that's a matter of opinion. Some people will feel differently about that. But from what I've seen, a lot of people seem to really like the SNES version of Turtles in Time. Right. And the Buzzy Bee next door. Ooh, another gun. Oh, may as well take that because I got free pocket. I can always drop something. Oh, careful. How do I get down to that bottom layer of rooms then? Are you around here? There was a pit somewhere, wasn't there? A big pit. I do not like whatever that is. I don't like whatever that is. You know what? We got loads of bullets. Let's kill it. Oh, it only takes 3 bullets anyway. Okay. So Swap that empty one. Okay, so we've explored every room in this place. Was that sort of ropey item, wasn't there? What is this? Don't know what that is. Well, I'm taking it with me anyway. Right, and then we can leave the castle through this door, because that takes us off the bottom of the map. Let's have a look at a purple castle. Looks like a snake or something. That's a bottle of poison. And the spider. And the big magic carpet. Let's just make sure that doesn't whisk us off anywhere. Not a lot going on in this castle. Whoops! I'm dead. Anyway, I think that's quite an interesting game. I won't put you through another playthrough of that. I think that's an interesting game and one worth trying for yourself if you are interested in sort of really ambitious games for platforms like the ColecoVision. Because that's trying to do something a little bit more than just be an arcade game, which I think is quite cool. What shall we play next? Let's have a look at River Raid. Now, River Raid on the Atari 8-bit is one of my favourite games of all time. So I am intrigued to try out the ColecoVision version. Let's have a look at the manual first. Your mission is to score as many points as possible by destroying enemy battleships, helicopters, fuel depots, jets, land tanks, hot air balloons, and bridges before your jet crashes or runs out of fuel. So to begin a new game at any time, press reset on the game console, asterisk or star on your hand controller. Also reset the game. Okay, cool. So, if you've not come across River Raid before, this is an early vertically scrolling shooter, I should say, written by Carol Shaw. It's quite noteworthy in that it's a very early example of procedural generation. So, that doesn't mean that it's randomly generated, though. What it does mean is that in order to fit an enormous number of levels into memory, rather than designing them by hand, what Carol Shaw did was develop an algorithm that would generate them for her. So it's basically using procedural generation with a fixed seed, so that it always generates the same level layouts. And in that way, River Raid has a huge number of interesting and varied levels, and yet it fits into about 4K. But it's just a really good game. It's an all-time favourite just because I think it's a really nicely designed game that plays well. It's got some interesting additional considerations that you don't have in other shoot-em-ups from the time. I really like being able to change your speed, and having to manage your fuel level is nice. And the shooting of the bridges and timing that so that you can take out the tanks, that's always fun. And lots of different types of enemies to destroy. Always fun shooting down hot air balloons with the jet. And yeah, this ColecoVision version is pretty neat. It scrolls nice and smoothly. The sprite movement's very smooth. The controls are nice and responsive. I like how the level number is written on the bridges as well. That's a nice touch. Ooh. Careful. And yeah, the graphics are sort of slightly higher resolution than the other versions of this game. So it's particularly apparent down on the status bar down at the bottom. The resolution of the numbers and stuff is higher than it was on the Atari 8-bit and 2600. The visuals themselves aren't quite as colourful. I've covered the Atari 8-bit version on Atari A to Z over on YouTube before, so take a look at that if you want to see what that looks like. But yeah, that version is slightly more colourful. So you've got a sort of orangey red plain, for example, and there's brown banks on the river instead of it just being green land at the sides. The hot air balloons are sort of rainbow coloured in that version as well. Oh no! Which is something I really like. But I do like the way this one feels to play. It's nicely responsive. It feels a bit easy to hit some of the tricky targets as well. Things like the white planes that are flying across the screen feel a little bit easy to hit in this one. Alright, let's have another go. So yeah, this is a decent version of River Raid that I didn't know existed. Mistimed my bridge shot. Whee! I don't think you actually get any more points for going faster. But obviously, the big points come from smashing the bridges. So if you can get there sooner, you can increase your scoring potential. A lot of early Activision games had a mechanic where the further you went, the higher your scoring potential was. Not actually sure if that's implemented in this. So if you look at a game like Mega Mania or something like that, what would happen is on level 1 you get 10 points for shooting something, on level 2 you get 20 points, on level 3 you get 30 points, and so on, and it would continue like that. Not quite paying enough attention to what's going on with the score to see if that's happening here, but maybe next time I'll actually watch. So I've got 60 points for a helicopter there. And what? And 60 points for the balloon. Oh, I don't know. I can't do maths that quickly. Especially not while I'm trying to shoot things. Anyway, let's just watch the score. If it feels like it's going up faster the further we go, then that's what's happening. I think the procedural generation thing with this is really interesting because not only is it defining the shape of the river, but it also determines what enemies are going to appear where and how they're going to behave. There is apparently a slight element of randomness in the behaviour of things like the ships and the helicopters and the hot air balloons. But for the most part, it's all calculated by that procedural generation algorithm. We've got a cat about to invade. Patty, not now. Really not now. No. No! No! Go away. Go away. Well, I am currently suffering cat difficulties. So go on, get your leg out of there. Move. There we go. That's it. You go over there. Thank you. Right. Now, if I can play a game of River Raid without being interrupted. Let's try again. Alright, 30 points for one of them. 30 points for one of them. 60 points for one of them. 30, 30, 30. Yeah, still 30 points for one of them. So the value of stuff doesn't go up as you go further, I don't think, unless it jumps at like 10 bridge intervals or something like that. Ooh, low on fuel. Knew I'd forgotten something. You do get points of shooting the fuel dumps as well, so if you don't need fuel, what you should do is shoot the fuel dumps, because you get some points. So it's very much a risk versus reward sort of thing. If you decide that you can risk blowing up the fuel dumps, if you've got enough fuel to make it to your next checkpoint or whatever, then you can take that risk and be rewarded with points. Beautiful, beautiful, lovely points. Oh, and just whiz through here. Oh, that was much too early. Much too early. And that tank started shooting now. So, once you get to a point where the tank starts shooting, like they are here, it's worth making sure you catch them on the bridge, because otherwise they will shoot you as you're trying to go past. And that's not very nice. Alright, coming up on 10,000 points and an extra life. There it is. Yeah, it's way easier to hit those white ships that are flying across the screen than it is in other versions of this I've played. I'm not complaining. Yeah, the more I play this, the more I like it. This is a really nice version of River Raid. I doubt it's going to replace the Atari 8-bit version for me completely, but it is a nice change. And if you'd never played River Raid before, and for some reason you decide that ColecoVision... No! For some reason you decide that ColecoVision is the optimal gaming experience for your circumstances, then this is a perfectly good version of River Raid to enjoy. Oh no, I've done it again. So if you're wondering why that tank shell went straight through me, it's because the tank shells will only kill you with their explosions. It's sort of presented as if they're kind of arcing over the top of you. Oh no! Getting challenging now. Right, just take your time. Pin sharp accuracy. Pinpoint accuracy. There we go. Lovely stuff. Nearly at 20,000, and now the helicopters are shooting at us. Help! Oh, it's all too much. It's all too much. Destroy those filthy, dirty helicopters. There's an extra life. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And tank! Tank, tank, tank. Concentrate now. Feel the concentration of my mad pro elite river raid skills as I crash into this aeroplane. That tank is out for blood. They want nothing more than the feast on my corpse and the burning wreckage of my plane. Die! Oh god. So much stuff going on now. So many planes flying through. This is where the fact it's a little bit easier to hit them than in the other versions of this game is very welcome indeed. Oh, I've done it again. Sneaky, sneaky. Don't. Yeah. Oh no! Right. This is it. The final... whatever. Final chance to prove myself, unless I can get to 30,000 points and get extra life. Which I suspect is probably not going to happen at this rate, but you never know, you never know. You never know. Oh, don't. Just don't, alright? Could do with some fuel. Some fuel? Lovely fuel. Lovely fuel, thank you. Death to... No! Oh, God, that was close. This is getting hard. No! Oh, God, help. This is stressful now. This is stressful. My cat is about to start harassing me again. Oh, God. I got extra life, though. Got an extra life. Unfortunately, that means the next extra life is a very long way away now. Thread the needle. Thread the needle. Thread it. Yes, bridge 20. I knew I hadn't lost the touch. Come rain or shine, come Atari 2600 or ColecoVision, I will raid your river until the end of the night. Whatever that means. Getting a bit narrow now. Getting a little bit narrow for my liking. Oh, that's it. That's it. It's all over. It's all over. Whew. I enjoyed that. That's a good version of River Raid. Thumbs up. Right. What should we do next? Let's have a look at this one, because I'd never heard of this game. And Spectra Video are an interesting publisher because they were very much a sort of... I don't know what you call them, really. They were kind of a B-tier publisher. They put out a lot of crap, but they put out some interesting, good stuff as well. On most of the platforms of the day, including ColecoVision, Atari 2600, Intellivision. This is a weird game. This is a weird game. Oh, I will show you what I mean. Spectra Video presents Frantic Freddy from 1983. So in this game, you are a fireman, apparently. Except you look kind of like a sausage bug thing. So what you do is you jiggle your way across the screen like that, and you shoot fires with your water. And you can also shoot the sort of pellets of fire that are coming down at you as well. Those are the main things that will kill you, but you can also shoot them for extra points. And each fire takes 6 shots of water to destroy. And when you've put out all the fires, you move on to the next stage, which works a little bit differently. It's a bit more of a sort of platformer. So you shoot sideways now. Still takes 6 shots to destroy a bit of fire. But you have these pink fires to contend with as well. And you can't destroy the pink fires until you've destroyed all of the red ones. So you've got to sneak your way around, avoiding the pink ones as much as possible. And taking advantage of the movement patterns because they follow you. And destroy all the fires on the screen. And then you loop round and you do the same but harder. So you see now the fire particles are sort of coming down a little bit faster. So it's a little bit trickier. A bit more dodging required. I like this game because it looks like an MSX game. And having only learned quite recently that the ColecoVision is basically an MSX, I quite like that. And on to the next stage. Again, we'll have to deal with a slightly elevated level of difficulty here. Again, avoiding the pink fires while getting rid of the red ones. Going at that last one. Now we can deal with the pink ones. Sometimes apparently some of those doors start glowing and you can walk through them. And I think you get bonuses if you do that, but I haven't seen that happen yet. And on to the next stage. So it's a pretty simple game as you can see, but I rather like it for its sort of cute appearance. I don't know what the hell the main character is supposed to be, but you know, he's kind of adorable. And the way he sort of jiggles along like that is just ridiculous. Okay, going well. And onwards. I'm not sure when the skill level elevates in this, because as the game progresses, it's supposed to get harder by means other than it just getting faster. So there's like additional game elements. Oh no. Like at some point you're supposed to end up having to catch cats that are jumping from the windows. I don't know if you have to start on a higher difficulty level for that, or if you can actually progress up until that point. But even so, that is supposed... Oh, I've done it again. It suddenly got really hard. Right, you. Get out of here. You come a little bit closer. Oh no! I can't... I don't know what to do. Maybe take out the one on the floor above first. Right, that seems sensible. And up here. Oh no, I'm trapped. I think we were onto something there, though. Alright, So, take out this one. Go up here. Take out this one. Get killed by that one. That's good too. Game over. Alright, I'm going to bump that up to a higher difficulty. So skill level 3. So we now have to deal with the cats as well. You jump from the windows and you have to catch them. If you don't catch them, you lose a life. Because, come on, you've got to save the cats. Adds an interesting sort of dynamic to the game, actually. That's not there when you just have to shoot the fires. Okay, cool. Now, I think the cats also appear in this level as well. Ooh, secret doors, secret doors, secret doors, secret doors! Oh, I see how that works. Alright, okay, so it just transports you from one to the other. So in that case, I just teleported myself right into death. Which was rather clever of me, wasn't it? So in these sort of more platformy stages, you can go and get the cats horizontally. And they seem to correspond with the secret doors appearing as well as a kind of shortcut to them. That does make things much harder though. Oh, too close. Too close. This is a tricky old game. Get a cat! Get a cat! Oh. Convenient cat. Alright, so that's dealt with all the red fires. Grab the cat. Get the pink flames. And get the cat. And finish. Good. Now we're getting the hang of this. I got you, kitty. Oh! Oh no. Too late. I'm sorry, cat. I'm so sorry. Just didn't quite get to them in time. I think when a cat appears, you've basically got to drop everything and get to where they are. Otherwise, you just won't get over there in time. Unless you're already pretty close to them, obviously. Jump! And final cat. Lovely. Right, is this going to suddenly be insanely difficult again? Run, run, run! Oops! A little bit too eager there. Okay, that's a fun little game. Like I say, I like that just because it reminds me of an MSX game. It looks like an MSX game. It probably was an MSX game. But, yeah, here it is on the ColecoVision. Right. My bum's starting to get a bit tired, if I'm perfectly honest. So we'll just play a couple more things and then call it a day. Ooh, I think, because otherwise my back is going to not thank me in the morning. All right, let's take a look at Antarctic Adventure, because I did mention that at the beginning. This is a Konami game from 1984. It's basically a racing game, of all things. But it's a rather charming little game. Konami! Antarctic Adventure. Push any key. So your job in this game is to run! And try not to trip over things. If you can grab the fish, they're worth bonus points. Then the seals who pop out of holes, they will stop you dead, so you don't want to hit them. If at all possible. So push forward to accelerate. Press the button to jump. And that's all you need to worry about. Whoops. And you need to make sure the meter that says rest reaches 0 before the meter that says time reaches 0. Whoops. Oh. And you'll see that as you progress, the scenery changes. You'll start seeing different things. I assume there's different obstacles as you go further as well. I haven't played this game a lot, so I don't know it super well. Oh no! But it's okay. We have made it. Australia! Which isn't in Antarctica, but, you know. I guess that fortress is owned by Australia. There's a little penguin dude in this. I've forgotten his name. But he was Konami's mascot for a good few years. He showed up in, I think, about 10 different games altogether. If you played Parodius, he's in that. And I think that's probably his most well-known... Pentaro, that's it. And yeah, he's in a bunch of different games. As Konami put this game out and they thought, hey, we got a cute little penguin. We should use him as a mascot. So they did. This is such an enjoyably silly game. But it's actually quite technically impressive for the time as well. I mean, yes, it's not like doing proper smooth scaling or anything, but the way the objects are approaching you looks pretty convincing for the time period. The way there's corners and stuff on the roadway, that's pretty neat. And the whole thing runs at a decent speed. It's tricky though. It's a tricky old game. Should just about make it though. And Australia again, apparently. Okay. Right, on to the next stage. So you could play as him in Gradius 2 if you use the MSX cartridge of Gradius 2 along with Antarctic Adventure. Oh, that's interesting. So has the MSX got multiple cart slots then? I know some systems from the period did. Like the Atari 800, I think it was, had 2 cart slots. Although the second one wasn't used for very much. But yeah, however that's implemented, that's always interesting when you see things like that. One reason I'm very fond of the Evercade VS is that it's got a lot of cart combinations like that. Like if you put two cartridges in the same series in, you'll often unlock an extra game. Like if you put the 2 Atari cartridges in there, you'll get the Atari 78 version of Dark Chambers, for example. You put in the 2 Galco collections, you'll get another Galco arcade game. Put in the 2 Intellivision ones, you get a new Intellivision game. Lots of little secrets like that. So if you have an Evercade VS, then yeah, be sure to give that a try if you haven't already. That's one of the main reasons it has 2 cart slots, is so it can do stuff like that. Alright, run, Pantera, run! That's not running, is it? That's running into all the obstacles. Ouch! I want to know what the pitch meeting for this game would have been. Like, they walk in there and go, right, we're going to make a game, you know that Turbo game that Sega made? We're going to make a game like that, but we're not going to put a car in it. No. We're going to do a penguin. And all the executives are like, you what? Extensive research has shown that the penguin is significantly more popular with the game-playing demographic than racing cars. So therefore, we make Turbo with a penguin. I believe there actually was a port of Turbo to ColecoVision as well. But you need a special controller for it. There was a driving controller for the ColecoVision. It was an actual proper little steering wheel, and I don't know if it had pedals, but there was certainly a wheel. And I don't know if the emulator supports that, so I don't think we'll be able to try that today, unfortunately. But that's one to look for in the future. As Turbo's a cool game. Simple, but I really like the format. And then they sort of revisited a similar format with Monaco GP a little bit later as well. The idea of the race being more about getting as far as possible rather than sort of beating times or coming out in first place or anything like that. You get quite a few points for those flags, don't you? It's worth grabbing them. Whoops. Run. No, and you can't jump over the stupid seals. I wonder how fixed these course layouts are. Like, is the layout of the holes and stuff always the same? Can you learn this game, I wonder? Come on. Oh, it's not going wonderfully right now. Come on, run! Run for your life! Maybe a bit of tactical braking now and then probably wouldn't go amiss. Jump! Oh, I thought I was doing alright for time, but we might not be. Oh, we might be. We might just about be alright. Oh, not if that happens. Come on, less than 100 to go. Come on, run! Oh! That's upsetting. Deeply upsetting. I am going to have another go, though, because this game is fun. So, there. This is a really good example of what people mean when they say the ColecoVision is good at arcade-style games. It's like, although there's certain aspects of this game that look a little bit janky by modern standards, there were arcade games that looked like this, and sounded like this, and played like this. And this is still a supremely playable little game today. It's worth spending a bit of time with if you have the opportunity. Whoops. So if you're yet to enjoy the ColecoVision for yourself, this is certainly a good game to give it a go on. Along with the other platforms that it came out on as well, of course. Run, 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 run. There we go. Nice time bonus. On to stage 02. You can start to get a feel for when that seal's going to show up, because he comes up quite regularly. And there's never more than one of him on screen at once. So if he's already on the screen, then you know that the other holes can be safely jumped over. Right there. Because he was already on the screen, we could take aim for that other hole and jump over that and get a few points for that. It's not a lot of points for jumping over holes, but it's... I mean, every little helps when you're going for a high score. Whoops. The flags are more helpful. But, you know, 10 points here and there can make the difference sometimes. Oh, it's actually more points for the big canyon type things. There's like 50 points for those ones. Very nice. Australia. Right, next. No, I'm just not going to worry too much about jumping over things. I'm just going to try and get to the end. Get some flags, maybe. Get some fish. There's a lot of arcade games on this period. The majority of your score would come from your bonuses rather than the moment-to-moment gameplay. I realise I'm contradicting myself now because I was just saying, oh, 10 points can make all the difference. But I think as you get into harder stages, you want to try and focus a bit more on just surviving. And only take risks if it's worth doing so or if you need to. So there we got a nice time bonus of 25 seconds there. 24 seconds, beg your pardon. Which is a nice chunk of points. Onwards. Right, Seal getting particularly aggressive on this stage. He's everywhere! What a dickhead. Oh, I need to slow down for those. Oh no! Why? Why are you everywhere? Oh, that was mean. He actually appeared in 2 holes, one after the other. They were spaced out in just such a way that he could do that. Nasty. Nasty little blighter. Thundering outside. I'm not going to say no to some rain. Jumpy, jumpy, jumpy. Oh! Don't think I'm going to make it. Don't think I'm going to make it. Come on, just run. Just run. 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 You made it. Just about. Only just. New Zealand, mate. Teeny tiny time bonus. Well, I got nowhere near as many points as I got last time. Did I get this far before? I can't remember. Well. Let's do our best. There's nothing different about the holes that the seal pops out of, is there? That gives you like a visual cue of when he's coming or where he's coming. I think you might just have to learn it, assuming it is a game you can learn and it's not random. I feel like this kind of game they'd make learnable. Whoops! Ooh. Ooh. Zesty. Oh. Poor timing. No, get out of my way. Ah! Bump. Just need to slow down slightly for those narrow jumps. Can you slow down in mid-air? You can do. Okay. That makes things a little bit easier. No. I don't think that's helping me though. Oh, I'm missing all of these flags. Uh-oh. Come on, charge! You can make it! You can make it! You can make it! You can make it! Oof! Oof! It's the South Pole, everybody! Right, halfway through, I guess. Oh yeah, you can slow down in midair. Right, that makes those jumpy bits a little bit easier. Our friend isn't showing up, is he? Does he just not show up in certain stages? No, there he is. I thought it was too good to be true. Come on, Pentero, you can make this. Not very far to go at all. Beat my high score. That's the important thing. Ooh. Yeah, gonna have to make this the last game, I think, because my cats are hassling me for dinner and my bum hurts. So, you know. But it's fitting that we go out on a bit of a high. And a solid performance at Antarctic Adventure. Oops. No. When I said solid performance, I of course meant complete incompetence. Oh! Oh dear me. Come on now. Come on now. Pretty sure I'm not going to make this one. Especially not if I do that. Come on, stranger things have happened. Run! Leg it! No! Damn. That was a good performance, though. I was pleased with that. Stage 7, 31,970 points. Okay, cool. Right, so gonna call that a day there, I think. Thank you for those who have been watching. It's very much appreciated that you've been here for the whole thing, Flame. So thank you for that. Thank you for your support, and thank you to everyone who watches the VOD of this, which I'll stick up on YouTube as well for a permanent archive of it. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. The ColecoVision is a funny old system, but it's worth exploring if you're interested in things like the MSX and sort of 80s games consoles and all that sort of thing, and particularly arcade-style games. There's some really fun games in that library. That was obviously just a little cross-section that we looked at today. There's plenty more where that came from. They're pretty easily accessible online these days. Obviously, I can't tell you where to find them or anything like that, but, you know, archive.org. You'll find that a lot of classic game systems have all of their ROMs archived on archive.org now, because the original cartridges are just so far hard to find now. It makes sense for a kind of library service like archive.org to, well, archive them, you know. So, if you do want to explore it for yourself, that's a good means of getting started. Like I say, emulation-wise, I recommend using Blue MSX over Gear Coleco. If you run Launchbox like I do, it defaults to Gear Coleco rather than Blue MSX. But if you go into the Setup Emulator section of Launchbox, you can choose which core you want to use. So if you set that to Blue MSX instead, you won't have the problems with the keypad that Gear Coleco has, which is nice. Anyway, like I say, my cats are bugging me for dinner. It's raining outside. I'm hungry, and my bum hurts. So I'm going to call that a day there. So just remains for me to say, as always, thank you very much for watching. I'll be back again 5:30 p.m. UK time next Wednesday. There will probably be some unscheduled streams in the meantime as well, because I'm going to start using streaming as a means of getting through some of my backlog. So be sure to follow my channel, twitch.tv/PJEDavison. And you'll get announcements, notifications and whatever, and emails, and I don't know how it works, but you know, you will probably get told when I go live. So if you want to drop in, please do. So like I say, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.